Hey guys, Shawn Ziem, the Connection Machine, aka the Insurance Doctor, and the host of the Webtalk Legends Podcast. This is number 24 on the year. The goal is to have one a week every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know everyone around the world, that's different for all of you. It could be the morning, etc. But each guest that comes on is going to share their story, tell us their trials, their tribulations, things that has happened to them. And I would love for you to learn, get motivated, be inspired by what we're going to have as far as this conversation in the next 30 minutes. I would love for you to drop a comment, hashtag live, where you're watching from as well. So if you're afraid to make comments, just do hashtag live. If you want to drop a comment where you're watching us from, please do engage. If you like what you're hearing, hit that thumbs up throughout and just sit back, enjoy, have your cup of coffee, have your beer, have your wine, and enjoy our conversation. Let me bring on a good friend of mine, Tom Maiello. What's up, brother? How are you?
Hey, Sean, how are you?
Hey, thanks for taking some time out of your busy day and
No worries.
to share some value with everyone. Can
Mhm.
you give us an introduction of who you are and what you do?
Oh, well, I've been in the insurance business since 1987, 88-ish. Uh, I opened up my own office in 2009, went on my own. My partner, who we've been friends since the late 80s, joined in 2010. And, we've grown our office from him and I to basically five people. And we're just doing the best we can, trying to help people with auto, home, and business insurance, life, and employee benefits. And we've created what I feel is a family atmosphere within our office, even though we're all remote. And it's all chat and email and phone calls, but it's worked, and everybody's happy. We're making money, and no real stress.
Hey, we all have stress, though,
Right.
that's for sure.
Yes.
But it's just cutting it down. And I love how you said that you're helping others as far as you're not. And I work with Tom, guys. I
Mhm.
am working directly with Tom. We're collaborating. We're trying to write as many people out there for the have the best insurance coverages. And
Mhm.
that's the important thing is not to sell the good policy, the good coverage for a fair premium, not a cheap. That's what
Right.
everyone looks for, cheap.
Right.
And besides insurance, we're going to talk about a lot of things tonight. So,
Mhm.
one thing I want to have you go think back or share with us who you were in high school. Were you a
Oh
jock? Were
boy,
you into books? How was that when
I
you
was
went?
uh, I was in the marching band. I was the high school tuba player, and I was the only guy, so the only tuba player in a big high school. So I realized early on that I was not going to get signed by the Mets or anybody like that. But so I got more into music, and I actually at one point thought I was going to be a music ed major, and because I got into the insurance business, because my uncle owned an insurance agency, and ironically, his partner, um, his, phrase it to correct, my partner and I basically met because we worked at the agency where our uncles were partners,
Hmm.
and that's how we met in 1987, and we went to insurance school in 1988. And when I saw um, the living that you can make in the insurance industry, I decided I didn't want to be a teacher, and I don't regret that. I've made a decent living in the insurance business. I, I had the honor of running a nonprofit musical program for most of my life, so I got that taste of being an educator and working with kids while I made a living doing insurance. And insurance isn't the most exciting topic, but just to touch on what we said about helping people, people got to stop looking at the bottom line. We had a guy, $1.2 million house the other day burned down to the ground,
Hmm.
and coincidentally, another client lived two doors away from him, and it called me and made sure his policy was okay. And I said, "Oh, so and so down the block?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "He's one of our clients also." And he goes, "My policy okay?" I said, "Of course it is." I said, "Just when you talk to your neighbor, you'll see everything will go according to plan, and you don't want to think about having an insurance problem as you're watching the house burn or the car.
Right.
towed away. And that's how, you and I met. And because of COVID, we actually haven't met in person.
That's guys,
Right?
everyone's, they're tuning in right now from all over the world. Tom and I have been doing business for over 2 years now,
Yeah.
and we've never met in person. We've done a couple calls like this. We're always on the call, phone. We're
Texting
always
and
email and texting, and you could still conduct business.
Mhm.
And we're going to meet in person in the next couple weeks. We have
We
to.
have to. Yes.
It's just
Yes.
something that has to happen. But it's something that, some people are afraid to do things the way we're doing it. They have to have a brick and mortar. They have to have a place that they have to go to. But most of the time, that makes people become very lazy,
Mhm.
because when you're at home, and we're going to talk about this, you have a child, you
Mhm.
have a boy, and how you have to work your schedule around him
Mhm.
as well, working from home.
Mhm.
Before we go into that, you said tuba and the marching band.
Mhm.
Why did you get involved with doing and using the tuba?
Oh man. Listen, I just remember in the fifth grade, the teacher saying, "Who wants to learn how to play an instrument?" And for some reason, I raised my hand, and I could picture it in my head. I raised my hand. They handed me a trumpet, and then through different music teachers, they say, "Oh, you want to try this? All right, let me try tuba. That's pretty cool." And that's where I went. And through high school, that's what I did. I auditioned for Rutgers, Mason Grove School of the Arts. I got in. And then the day of my placement test, I said, "Nah, I don't want to be a band director." And I took the year off between high school and college, got my insurance license, worked a little bit, went back to college, and here we are 100 years later, what feels like, with a nice business, working with good people, and, day by day, and then taking care of everybody's family. Like I said, there's 5 people attached to the office right now. And I look at it as 5 families, being able to pay their rent, mortgage, whatever, and eat and go on vacation because we're all working together. And that's kind of how my partner and I look at it.
All have a common goal to take care of clients, and then everyone gets the share
Yes,
of
and
basically
everybody,
the revenue or what
right,
have you.
everybody's making money. It's
Yep.
that's why we all get out of bed in the morning, to make sure our kids have what they need, and we have what I need, and hopefully someday we could I don't know, hang up the computer and just sit by the beach and have enough money socked away to enjoy, the golden years, as they say. You
Let's
know.
talk about marching band. And with being a tuba player,
Mm-hmm.
marching band, I know my wife was in the marching band in Clifton, and they're all
Mm-hmm.
about the high stepping. And I
Mm-hmm.
only learned this stuff. I was a jock growing up. I
Oh,
had
it's a whole
never
world.
been inside a band room
Mm-hmm.
ever until I dated my wife. And I'm like,
Uh-huh.
I was inside there. And I'm like, what the hell is this? This is crazy.
It's
So go talk to us
Oh my
about the
god.
marching band. I know you're
Well,
very passionate about that.
yes, it was something. Uh, Back in 1982, I joined. Once I was in the school band, a couple of friends recruited me to join a German bugle corps. Some people might know what that is. We grew up in Bayonne, so the Bridgemen were a real popular group back then. We're going back to like 1982 now, um, and it just became a lifelong passion. I wound up in the Garfield Cadets, which is another, you know, world famous drum and bugle corps,
Hmm.
and I did that for a couple of years, and then I wound up being part of a group that started another program in Bayonne, and I wound up running that program for almost 20 years, and ran a couple other programs, and it's just been a great experience. It's the friendships that were made there, and helping kids grow up and teach them life skills and teach them teamwork and goal oriented programming to their performance. And the best example I can give you that I think every musician that's been in marching band or drum corps will tell you, I took over a program in 2018. I brought my wife the second week to the program, the second rehearsal, and the rest of the admin staff I had been talking to for 2 weeks. I just met these guys and girls. And my wife goes, "How long have you known them?" I said, "I met them last week on my first rehearsal." She goes, "You guys act like you've been friends for years." And I said, "That's because we're all passionate about what we do. And we have one goal to make sure these kids have a great summer." and when everybody works towards a common goal, whether it's music, business, sports, you can't replicate that feeling anywhere, and you'll be connected for the rest of your life with these people, and you know
No, I
that's
agree
what keeps
with
us
you.
going.
The teamwork, the goal setting, those are all important things. People think, oh, it's just you're playing music. No, I've seen the marching band and what they do in the summertime. It's almost worse than a football when they have 2-a-days or 3-a-days.
Yeah.
They're out there for hours playing, practicing,
Mm-hmm.
all with that common goal of doing their best so that when their performance happens, they're all on their A game. And that's
Right.
very important thing that,
Mm-hmm.
and there's errors. Is there anything you can share with us that maybe didn't go that great? You had one of those, events and you're like all pumped. I'm going to be playing, and all of a sudden something happened that you didn't do or what have you.
Oh man, the only thing I can tell you, the one group I was running, we were undefeated all year, and we went into a preliminary competition, and we won by the national competition. We won by a few tenths of a point against a group that had been around for forever. And I think the next day, I regret this, that we practiced too much the next day. And I think then going into finals that night, the kids were tense because I think we all were. None of us expected to be there. I mean, it was our goal, obviously, to be the best we can, and if we could win a gold medal, great. And I think after we won prelims, we practiced too hard the next day. I think it just tightened everybody up. And the final performance, while it was good, it was safe. The kids played it safe, and we lost by a hundredth of a point. And I mean, it still was a great summer, and the kids, loved it and still talk about it. And they'll message me here and there, remembering moments. But I think it was my fault that we practiced too much that day. We wanted to make sure everything was, covered. And,
Perfect. You never get perfect, right?
no, no, and that's what we should have slept late, had breakfast, and did a light rehearsal, and then took a nap. Is what we should have done.
People, they think too much. That's what it is. They think too much. A lot of you are popping on right now from all over the world. Drop a comment where you're watching from. We love it. Keep dropping them comments. But everyone gets in their mind, and that's where it changes you. And it's like, that's why a lot of people, when they come on a show like this, they're like, oh, I can't talk about what I do or what I've done. And I'm like, why? We do this every day, but we're just doing it while everyone's watching us.
Yeah. And everything we do teaches us lessons. That moment in 2001 taught me the lesson. In 2005, we were in that position again. And the schedule went to change where we had more time to rehearse. And I said, no, we made the schedule. Why change it? Why add time? We're sitting in first. Let's leave it be. And everybody, some people might not have agreed, but it didn't create any tension. And the kids went into that last night and they blew the place apart. And we walked away with a gold medal. And I attribute that to the mistake I made in 2001. And with anything, we're only going to get better at things if we make a mistake and fix our mistakes. And whether we've made mistakes with in business, but we fix them, and help each other. We'll catch each other's mistakes. I mean, you and I have caught each other's mistakes and make sure a policy gets issued correctly. Whether it's as simple as, we spelled the name wrong, or the bank, the mortgage on the policy. Well, let's fix the mistake before it gets issued. That's all. And that's the way it works.
Right. You always reflect. You always want to learn. I don't care how old you are, you're always going to learn something. And because you're listening to others. And if you're listening to others, you're going to learn from them. And it's something that it's nothing wrong with, oh, I didn't know it. It's nice to learn something new.
Right.
And this will transition into now being a father. How has that changed you, man?
Probably, everything that I've done in my life, there's nothing matches that moment. And I was fortunate and blessed because I basically started to try and be a father 20 years ago. And my first wife, the marriage didn't work out because she had fertility issues. And we're friends to this day. And she said because she couldn't get pregnant is what just threw her for a loop. And it took her time um, to figure it out. But it blew the marriage apart.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, I got married again after being single for a bunch of years. And even with my current wife, it took us 3 years to have our little guy. And because of fertility issues. So that moment when the doctor lets you cut the cord, uh, it's the greatest thing that has happened, and I'm pretty sure will ever happen
Mm-hmm.
for for the rest of my life. And if everybody, I don't think everybody should be pushed to have kids. I think that creates pressure on people. I'll never ask anyone, that, oh, you just got married, when are the kids coming?
Yeah.
You should never ask that because you don't know what people are going through.
Exactly.
And that used to happen to us. And you think you're doing nice by having that conversation, but you're really not. And it used to break our hearts, my first wife and my current wife, when people would ask you that. So people should be more conscious of that. Even though you think you're doing the right thing, you might not be. Let them say what they're up to.
I mean, the older that we get, the more difficult it becomes, no matter if everyone should be trying to get themselves in the healthy state of mind, healthy physically, everything else. But still, we had issues, my wife and I as well. We had to do IUIs, medicated IUIs for our first two. And then our last, the one we have right now coming, was a oops. So it happens.
Because there was no pressure, right?
Right. That's usually what, but yeah, you're 100% right. People are always like, oh, when are the kids coming? It's not all about that.
No,
but when you have that kid now, every single day you wake up, that's your why.
Yeah. Unfortunately, if I didn't have him, I would probably retire sooner. And I don't mind, obviously, because he is the why. I'm fortunate enough that I've been working from home since 2016. He turns 3 next month. And so I get to see him wake up. I get to see him at some points throughout the day, whether who's babysitting or daycare for us. I'm basically the taxi for that. And, we just got back from swim lessons with him tonight. And then I got on the call with you. So, what more could I ask for? And so working from home has been a true blessing also. And the whole office is virtual. So I don't understand these companies now that aren't helping people be more productive at home.
Right. You got to trust they micromanage. Right. They don't think people are working because I guess what they've done in the past. Right. So people kind of blame themselves.
It's an old mindset. We got to get out of the hourly thing and just look at the tasks or the projects completed, and not so much, well, you only worked 4 hours or 8 hours or 16 hours. Like, no, what projects got done? Did they get done correctly? Right. I think that's more important. Accuracy instead of speed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, getting things done properly, correctly. Now, are you one that changed diapers, or are you one that shies away from that?
No, I do it all. My wife sometimes gets mad because I'm just a little bit more proactive. She's very passive and one of the nicest people you ever wanted to meet, but very passive and quiet. And I'm more like, let's get this done. And I've done everything. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back. The best. Yeah. I mean, my own mother said, "Wow, I really never expected you to be this good of a father." So I guess that technically is a compliment, and in a sense, but I'll take it.
I mean, it's a job that you never get a chance. There's no vacation from a father, a mom. I mean, we went on a vacation, my wife and I, with the kids, and it wasn't a vacation. It was like a trip because you're just yelling at them at a different location with different neighbors.
Them, right, you're chasing them at a different location. You're chasing them around the beach, the boardwalk, amusement park, whatever. But I saw a video the other day, and the narration behind the video was, that time you have with your kid from day one till they're about 4 or 5.
Yes.
I don't know if you've seen that.
Yes.
I mean, that really, I've tried to spend as much time with him as possible. But that video really just clicked in my head. Like, you're right. Once he hits 4,
It's
5, and
over.
that baby stage is over, and the attitude might kick in a little bit. Um, that's it, done. Yeah, if you have more than one, sure, but it's not the same.
And
It's
you
not the
can't go
same.
back to it. You can't be like, oh, I wish I could do this again. I wish I missed this. No, you missed it. Like,
Right.
you were having kids. You should be in the moment with
And he's
everything.
right. He's already going to be 3 next month, and you're like, I'm like, crap. I only got a year to go.
Right.
And he's going to go to nursery school a little bit come September. And I just want a strong, independent young man who's confident in himself. And I'm okay when he says, "No, Dad, I don't need help." Okay, go. And because I'm 53 with a 3-year-old, and my main concern is being healthy and being around till at least 80, so I
Yep.
could see him grow up and be his own man. That's my goal.
No, you definitely. I'm glad to hear that what you're saying as far as being an active dad. You're being there. You're in the moment. You're doing those diapers, changing those bottles. I love doing that stuff. It
Yeah,
doesn't suck cleaning and all that stuff. No, it's just part of the process. It's all
yeah,
things that we have to do. Losing sleep. People say you lose so much sleep. Yeah, I
yeah.
still lose sleep now. I sleep on the freaking pull-out bed and the couch that we just got recently because of
Mhm.
that. We
Yeah.
knew that girls are going to wake up in the middle of the night, and that's
Mhm.
just what's going to happen. But it's just something we signed up for, and we
Yeah.
just go balls to the wall with. It's
Yeah.
something that you don't have any time off. Now you're wearing a Mets shirt. What
Yeah.
got you involved with the Mets?
It's funny you said that. I was hanging out with a friend yesterday at lunch, and I said, I was born in 1969, so the first World Series I remember watching is actually Yankees Dodgers. I'm like, how the hell did I become a Met fan? I have no idea. I really don't. Lee Mazzilli, maybe. I don't even remember Tom Seaver being a Met. I was too young, but I remember going to Met games and Yankee games in the mid to late '70s. And for some reason, I'm not a Yankee hater, but I became a Met fan, and I'm not really sure how.
I mean, we talk about what was it, Bill Buckner with the ball that went. Is it the one that went between
Yeah.
his legs and all that
Mhm.
stuff that people? And it's like, man, and it just haunts that person. Like
Yeah.
that person made a mistake. It happens.
Hmm.
Baseball is a very difficult game.
Yes.
You are on an island. Every position on that field is an island, and
100%.
a lot of people when they're younger, they're like, "Oh, I don't want to play certain positions because they're scared. They're feared of
Hmm.
the ball being hit to them,
Right.
and they are not ready for it." But
Mhm.
in the major leagues, you would think they would be able to. I saw somebody yesterday. I was watching. It might have been. It was a Yankee game, and I forget who they were playing. And the first baseman dropped the ball, and literally
Yeah.
hit him in the glove and dropped it. I'm like, how do you do that when you make millions and millions of dollars? But
I know.
they still make errors, right?
Of course. I mean, we watch. I mean, I like all different sports, and you just expect them to be perfect, and nobody's perfect.
No,
Whether
no.
whether, whether you're catching a ball, hitting a ball, catching a football, it's a tough business. And
You're a Giant fan. You're not a Jet fan. You're a Giant fan. You're a
that,
season ticket holder, right?
yes, and that was because of Lawrence Taylor. I watched both teams when LT came. That was just exciting watching him, and that's what made me a Giant fan. So, and it was before they won the Super Bowl. So that first one, and hopefully we got a better team this year. That's all. That's all I could hope for.
What's your favorite thing to eat and drink during a tailgate
Oh,
for a
tailgate.
Giant? It's funny the difference between if you're watching. I know a lot of you are outside the country.
Hmm.
Some of you are inside the country, but we have tailgating, and
Hmm.
you might be doing it at a soccer game, or they call it football in Europe, but they'll have the barbecuing and they're drinking beers before the game. Tell us what are some of your likes that you like doing there?
Uh, you know, it, if we're gonna barbecue, yeah, it's just gonna be burgers or something simple, and it's just the atmosphere, really. It could be we've gotten sandwiches from the Italian deli here in town. It's just the atmosphere, hanging out with however many people's in your little group, but meanwhile you're all there for the same reason,
Right.
and as long as nobody gets stupid because they've
Hmm.
had a few too many beers, it's a great time, and I love it. I'm looking forward to a couple decent tailgates this year. So Hopefully, you can make one or two of them, but
Hey,
you'll be busy changing more diapers. So we'll figure
if
something out.
not this year, I would
Yeah,
probably say
we
yes
got time.
next year
Yes, we got time.
because this time it's going to be probably difficult. But
Yeah, what's the due
I
date?
know, huh?
What's your due date?
It's November, early November, but
November?
probably October.
Right.
So we're gonna
Right.
have it. If it's in October, that'd be good because then I have one in October. I'll have one in November and then two in December.
Oh, really?
Otherwise, it'll be two in November and two in December, which will be
Wow.
crazy at the end of the year.
Wow. That's cool.
But it'll be fun. But I know there's a difference between Jets and Giants.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you go to a Jets game, they're like rowdy, they're loud, they're
I know.
obnoxious. You go to a Giants game, it's quiet.
It's different. I know. I've been to both because I'm not a Jet hater either. I'm not one of those guys. But for some reason, they just seem cursed. I don't know what it is, but hopefully they can figure it out
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. But yeah, for some reason, it's a different type of crowd, and I don't know if it's because of Long Island when they were out there. Like I don't know what it is, and or just the years of being bad. Maybe they're just pissed off. I don't know. Hopefully they can fix it. I like some of the things they got going on over there. The coach and
Mm-hmm.
all that, and the people that he's brought in. I like that guy. So let's hope for their
It'll
sake.
be promising, definitely
Yeah,
promising.
yeah.
I want to end on
Mhm.
doing you don't do I've done tons, I've done hundreds of these lives. I've done podcast shows, things like that. What are some fears that people have that you might have or maybe others that you know of not doing this consistently? Because it's free.
It's
It's
free.
you could do it anytime.
Hmm.
As we know, we have people from New Zealand, from Australia, from
Hmm.
Puerto Rico. You could do it anytime, but people don't want to jump on it because they're afraid of saying something wrong. Or what do you think? How can we help
Yeah,
others out there?
I think that's it. I mean, I'm used to talking to, obviously being in sales for a long time, talking to one or a group of people, running these musical programs. I've talked to kids and parents in large groups, so I'm used to that. I think once you put the camera in front, I think that changes a lot of people's mindset. I know it did a little bit for me before we clicked on um, and stuff, but I would love to do more because obviously we want to grow the business, our own business. Uh, what's the next logical step for us as an insurance agency? And yes, we can go to networking events and just our normal day to day networking of people. But is this the next step for us? Videos and and these kind of webcast things. Maybe that is the next thing, and we could see if we can get people to listen to insurance for 15 minutes or a half an hour. I mean, I don't know. Might have to tell a few jokes in between to keep them on. But maybe we could help people, teach them something that they can help them in their business or with their auto, home, and umbrella. I don't know, but it's something that you and I could talk about going forward and help both of our businesses.
Right.
You know,
It's something that a lot of people have to understand. Everyone has a story and everyone goes through things in life. And people, like my one daughter had a liver transplant. I've talked about this publicly. People are like, why would you talk about it? Because people go through things. You've talked about and you were transparent with us with infertility issues and fertility treatments and things like that. I have had people talk about miscarriages. These are things that people go through. And
and it
that's
might help someone else.
right. That's what I always say. We're always trying to help that one person. We might have hundreds of people watching our live, maybe a bunch of people watching the replay. And it's important that we're touching and giving value. And what every single one of you that are watching us have value and should be signing up to be a guest on the Web Talk Legends podcast because it's all about you. It's all about basically what happened in your life can help someone else that's watching us right now. That's
Mm-hmm.
the goal. And
Cool.
if people just that's another thing that happens. They go to workshops, they listen to podcasts, and they don't take action. That's a missing thing that I believe. Can you give us one important, I guess, tip of allowing or helping others to take action in their life?
Yeah, I guess you got to know what you want and go after it. And I've always had that ability, I guess, in a sense, which I got to really thank my parents for that, because they've always given me the freedom to be independent, make my own decisions. Let me know when I was younger if it wasn't really a good idea. But for the most part, always gave me the freedom to make my own decisions. And my dad saying, if you start something, don't quit, see it through. And so far it's worked. 53 years, hopefully at least another 30, and we'll see it through.
Doing much more than 30, my man. But I appreciate you. We'll definitely
Same
be
here.
in touch as far as getting that. We're going to set a date, guys. You're going to hear it public right now. We're manifesting. We're going to be in person in the next couple of weeks. I guarantee you. We're going to make it happen. If it's
we got to do a lunch or dinner.
Beer, something. Just so that we can continue building on our relationship, because relationships are people to people as well, guys. So get off the social media all the time. Get and meet people. That's a key thing. So, Tom, thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, good time, brother.
And guys that are watching, those that are popping on right now, wait till this uploads, watch the replay, and drop a comment or two. And appreciate every single one of you. Have yourself, wherever you are, an awesome rest of your day.
Good night.